Natalie signed her name at the end of each copy of the contract. Bryce took the contracts and gave one to Natalie to keep without saying another word. Then Bryce took her to his home. The mansion was one of the most prominent houses in the area. Security was very strict. No uninvited guest had ever got in. She took Liam's hand and entered the house slowly. Liam himself was amazed by the mansion and the beach. The servants and butlers inside the mansion greeted Bryce respectfully. "Welcome home, sir." He nodded and gestured for Natalie to come up beside him. He introduced her to them. "This is my wife, Natalie, and this little boy is our son." When Bryce finished the introductions, Mrs. Perkins, the housekeeper, was shocked. Looking closely at the little guy, her eyes widened in recognition. "You have finally gotten married. Now your parents can finally relax, Mr. Bryce." Seeing Mrs. Perkins so emotional, Natalie felt awkward standing there. While Natalie was lost in thought, Bryce told her, "If there's anything you need, anything at all, you can ask Mrs. Perkins." "Yes, that's right, Mrs. Bryce. If there's anything you need, just let me know." Natalie quickly nodded and replied shyly, "Thank you." With great enthusiasm, Mrs. Perkins took them upstairs to show them their room. While Natalie was looking around the room, Mrs. Perkins said, "This room is rather gloomy, don't you think? Now that you will be living here, do you think I should add something else here?" Natalie was startled. Just then, Bryce said, "She will be staying in the guest room for the time being. We'll have someone come in and remodel the master bedroom in a few days' time." Natalie felt relieved at that. Mrs. Perkins thought Bryce was very attentive. She nodded in agreement, happy to see the pair of them getting on so well. Then she went downstairs to bring Liam back up with her. "What's your name?" Liam looked up at the kind woman and felt a bond with her. "My name is Liam." She took him to look at the other rooms. Natalie and Bryce were alone. After a short while, he looked at the time. "I have a meeting I need to attend." With those words, he turned and left, paying no attention to Natalie. She sighed. Bryce still had the same attitude as when she first met him, cold and emotionless. But in a way, this suited her, as it meant she could get along with him without any emotions getting tangled up. After Bryce left, she stood alone in the room, exploring its exquisite decoration and features. She suddenly felt overwhelmed. All of this felt very surreal, like a dream. How had she come to move in with this man so quickly? Bryce went straight to the company offices. His schedule was really busy, but he had made some exceptions because of Natalie. Bryce entered his office. Just then, Samuel hurried into Bryce's office and asked him bluntly, "Bryce, is it true that you've got married?" Bryce wasn't too happy that someone had already found out and said, "How the heck did you know? My aunt told me. I couldn't believe it at first. So it's really true?" Bryce's frown deepened. How could he have forgotten that Samuel's aunt worked at the courthouse? "Go and give your aunt a call and tell her to keep this to herself. Don't worry, I've already informed her. But come on, tell me how this happened. You got married? This is really unbelievable. Wow! Who's the lucky lady?" Samuel was trying to guess who it was that Bryce had married, but seeing how calm Bryce was, he couldn't help but think of one particular person. "Bryce, you didn't marry Natalie from last night, did you?" "So what if I did?" "Bryce, I can't believe you're actually married. I thought you'd be single for the rest of your life." "You're overthinking it. It's true that for a while I had no intention of getting married, but that doesn't mean I want to stay single forever." However, Samuel obviously had doubts about Bryce's explanation, so he pressed further. "I still think it's a strange move. You were obviously deeply hurt back in the past. I mean, that's why you've been on your own." Before he could finish his question, Bryce gave him such a cold stare that Samuel immediately shut up. "Natalie is my wife now. She has nothing to do with anyone else, or with the past. As for me being deeply hurt, who in the world is in a position to hurt me deeply? That will never happen." But while thinking this, he recalled that enchanting night 5 years ago. That was the only time in his life when he had lost control and had slept with a woman he didn't know. Samuel quickly nodded in agreement. "Natalie has a child with another man. Will your family accept this marriage? Do I need anyone's permission when I do things around here?" Samuel gave a sigh and didn't press any further. "You just got married. Why not invite a few of your friends and colleagues out for a drink with Natalie to celebrate? She hasn't got time to socialize. Let's talk about it some other time." After they'd returned home from the courthouse, Mrs. Perkins had given mother and son a tour of Bryce's estate. Even though they were married now, Natalie didn't want to rely on Bryce for everything. She decided to go to the office, to her new job. When she arrived, though, she found that the atmosphere in the office was strange. Everyone was anxious. She got the receptionist's attention and said, "What's going on? Why is the atmosphere like this?" "The company's performance has not been so great lately, so there's a restructuring going on. Lots of people here are losing their jobs, so the atmosphere is naturally not too good." Wanting to know where she stood, Natalie went to the HR department to look for the HR manager who had interviewed her. The HR manager sighed helplessly and explained, "Natalie, unfortunately, this is not my decision to make. I can only do what the higher-ups tell me. The company will be restructuring in the next 2 days. I'll be able to inform you then whether or not you'll be staying."
Hi, I am Natalie. Want to know my story? Then download the Pocket FM app and listen to the exciting episodes of The Return Now.